If you're not doing video because you don't like the way you look or sound, get over it because you look or sound to everyone else the way you look or sound it's the same. Just get over it. Welcome to the 121% podcast. Today's episode, we are welcoming two new guests and a returning guest. So before we dive into the topic, I'd like to just take a moment to welcome back the legendary Arohi, and then also welcome our two new guests. We have Joe Pistone and we have Peggy Clemente with Century 21 Edge. So Joe, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your background, your real estate journey and all that good fun stuff.
All right. Well, my name is Giuseppe Pistone. I go by Joe. Makes it much easier to pronounce.
It's easier to spell.
Easier to spell, too. And so in 2003, I was looking to get out of the family business, which was a restaurant that we had in our family, that particular location for 25 years. And in the restaurant business at that point, about 40, almost 50 years. And I was looking for something that related, something where I could work with people, I could help people, and see the satisfaction of helping people. And so my family had always been involved in investing in real estate, and I thought, well, let me try to see if I like being a realtor. And so I got licensed, and I've been doing it ever since. I love what we do, and we are in South Florida. We are located, and what can I say? I love real estate. I love everything about it. The satisfaction of helping people never gets old. I've been doing this, like I said, since 2003, and the smile on people's faces and their appreciation never gets old.
Yep, it's true, especially with the agents and helping those agents, those newer agents, which we're going to be talking about today. They have a dream, and they've watched HGTV. And they think it's as simple as three showings and a closing, and then the reality sets in. And to be able to help them make that transition from full-time employee, helping pave someone else's dreams to their own dreams is amazing. So, and Miss Peggy.
Well, hello. My name is Peggy Clemente, also from South Florida, Century 21 Edge, the new location. And I started in banking, actually. I worked for a local bank in Miami, and that was back in 1997. So in there, I did everything in the loan department, closed residential deals, commercials, you name it, all of them. I fell in love in real estate when I noticed that it was kind of a miscommunication between what happened when you apply to the bank and when you actually get the contract. So I was curious to know what happened before those contracts came to my desk. So I decided to get into real estate, and that was in 2003 when I got licensed, and ever since I've been doing real estate and every day trying to improve and do better and better to help our customers and to help our agents develop their career to another level.
Excellent, excellent. So today's topic is it's a social media topic. It's how to grow your Instagram as a brand new agent. Starting a brand new business account with Instagram and taking it from 0 followers, 0 posts, 0 reels to building it into a machine that's going to help you build trust and loyalty with your consumers, to earn their business and to educate, right? And, so many agents, they neglect Instagram, and it's to their detriment. And we've had Arohi on before just talk about her business because she's had a very successful run. And one of the tools that I know she leverages really well is Instagram. Peggy, you've leveraged Instagram tremendously well. So we want to talk about what are some of for a brand new agent. I just got my license. I just signed up with a real estate brokerage. What should I do first with my Instagram? So, Arohi, talk a little bit about, your journey, because you've done this now yourself, and most of your leads came from Instagram, and you're a top producer. You are someone who delivers extraordinary experiences, and make sure you tell them about the boomerangs eventually, because that's my favorite part of your Instagram story.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty much just getting started. I think the key thing that a lot of agents need to know is it's not going to happen overnight. It's something that you just got to keep at it, whatever it is. Like if reels are your thing, stick to it. If, you know, highlighting certain areas of your neighborhood, your area, your expertise lies somewhere, keep at it. I think a lot of agents want that instant gratification from social media. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that fast. But if you keep at it, it's something that's going to be trending. Like anything else, it takes time. And I think they can really make it work in their favor.
So what are some of the first steps that you took as a new agent on Instagram to start to build that foundation that has yielded the fruits of your labor in the months and years after?
I think key thing for me, a couple things actually, I guess. I'm very big on giving back to the community. So I do highlight a lot. I do show my face a lot in the community. When I'm out and about, I do put on my stories that I'm somewhere. And if, you know, I'm never alone, by the way, but if I'm out with my family, friends, whatever, I do let people know, hey, I'm at this charity event or I'm at this pizzeria, whatever. And I let people know that, hey, if you see me, come say hello. So I try to make myself a lot more approachable. Another thing that I'm really big with my Instagram is that I don't just push that I'm a real estate agent. It's obvious that that's what I do. I try to let people know that I'm still a person. You can still relate with me. So again, I do highlight local businesses. I do show that I give back to the community. I have a few charities that I'm near and dear to my heart. So I make sure that those are highlighted as well. Because if I can get the name out, that's great. And I think through that, people start kind of relating to me. They build a relationship with me. And then through that, if some transaction happens, fantastic. All the time, it's not always with them. But what happens is that they know who I am, and then they end up referring me to a friend or a family. So no matter what, I'm getting, you know, the real estate aspect out of it. I just don't want to push the fact that all I do is real estate. I think a lot of agents go out there and just saying, oh, I had a closing, which is great because I know that is our end goal, correct? But I don't want to push that that's all I do because I don't want to just it be a sales page.
That's, I think, a big mistake real estate agents make is when you look at their feeds, it's look what I sold, look what I listed. Mm-hmm. Focus on being a servant first and education and helping. I joke with you one day, did you hire a professional photographer to go around with you because you're in the vast majority of your posts, you're in the photo. Mm-hmm. You are, yes, you're affiliated with a globally recognized brand, but you are your local brand. You are that extension of the brand locally, so people need to see your face. There was at one time you went to a coffee shop, mm-hmm. and I cracked up. I'm like, that was the time I asked, like, I knew, you know, your husband wasn't in town at the time. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. Like, who's taking these pictures? Oh, the lady in the table or the guy in the next table next over. I just, you know, she was waiting for a customer. Tell that story. Like,
yeah, I was just waiting for a customer to come. So I had my stuff, you know, my laptop and everything prepped out. And I'm like, okay, this is a great way for me to show that I'm here. It's a local business. It's a little coffee shop that I enjoy going to.
And what's the name of that coffee shop? We'll tag them.
Yeah, hey, Foxtails.
Yep.
So hey, right? Good branding.
Matter of fact, the wood that you see here was by the same guy that does all the Foxtails.
Look at that. See, it's all somehow connected, right? But yeah, so I was there and I just asked the lady there, I'm like, can you just take a picture for me? And she did. And one, it was a great way for me to just talk to somebody that I didn't know. And if it went south, then unfortunately it went south. But it worked out in my favor in that one. And so I just had to take her picture. I posted it. And then what's great too, and you know, we'll go, I guess if we can circle back to it, but when you're at local places and you tag them, 9 out of 10 times they will reshare your post. And that's a great way to get more followers, to have more people come back to your page, because those are people that initially did not look at, or, you know, maybe didn't know who you are or what you do or anything. And now that you're on their page, now you're getting traction from their, you know, social media accounts.
We had that happen. Peggy and I went to a new restaurant that opened up near our house, mm-hmm. and a Japanese sushi place. And the food was fantastic. The service was great. And
what's the name of the restaurant?
Minados in Pembroke Pines on Pines Boulevard. So
shout out.
So the food was great. Everything was great. And speaking to the server, and we asked how long they'd been open, and they'd said they'd been open a few months, and they really kind of haven't gotten any traction yet. And so Peggy posted it and tagged them, and not only did they respond, instantly we saw a spike in our followers as well. You know, and then when we came back the next time, the owner recognized us. So it was nice, but it definitely works.
Yeah, and you want to be relatable, right? Like,
absolutely,
people want to relate to you, and a lot of times just by saying, "Oh, I went to," I have conversations just with that, like, "Oh, you like sushi? Cool, that's a conversation." Or you like certain kind of drinks or beer, whatever. It's an easy way to kind of engage in some sort of conversation versus just saying, "Oh, hey, I do real estate," or "Do you want to buy a house?" or "Can I list your house?"
One other thing that also works is share the community events. Like, follow the cities. We are in Pembroke Pines, so make sure that you follow City of Pembroke Pines page, City of Miramar, which is another city close by, Cooper City. They have events every single weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever cities are near you, right? Since we have a global audience, right?
Is near you,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
make sure that you share what they're doing and tag them, because those pages has a lot of followers, and people want to know what's going on in their cities. So if you share that with the communities, they just get back to you, and you're not only there, as you said, selling real estate. You are showing what's going on in the city. That's a way also to contribute.
Correct.
I mean, I think it's really important. You hear a lot is make sure you have your content buckets, and kind of develop a rhythm and a pattern is a great way to be, for that consistency. So your community, your social charity events have your local business spotlights. If you're good, Arohi, at putting out list of here are my top 5 favorite coffee shops. You use Canva to create the graphic. Matter of fact, we create a couple templates at your request to be able to do that, and then you tag them in the post. And there's a lot of great templates on generic Canva as well to be able to do that. And then you're just expanding that reach. Have some educational things if you're in real estate, right? And letting consumers know that you are that local expert. Talk to me a little bit. So if you have different contact buckets, being consistent, right? How do I get followers as a new agent? Because that's the big thing. Like, what did you do to instantly start to grow? And obviously, you're not overnight. Don't pay for followers. Yeah. Please don't do that. That'll get you banned.
Yeah, don't do that.
And because the algorithm base is a lot of it's based on how much your followers interact with your page. So if you have a lot of followers and they don't interact because half of them are bots that you bought, you're not going to do well and could get banned. So how did you organically start to build your fans?
A lot of, like I said, for a while, certain hashtags I'm always posting, and whatever ones I've used from the beginning, I've continuously used throughout in every single post. Sharing, resharing has gotten me a lot. Like I said, I tag everything under the sun when I need to. That's relatable. And again, I get those businesses to tag me, and then I actually reshare, thanking them for sharing mine. So I'm getting a double share essentially out of that. So that really helps. And again, it didn't happen overnight.
Nope.
And it's not going to. So I think if you can, and as a new agent, that's a very hard pill to swallow. I've been there and I get it. I've shared in the past before. My first year, I had 0 sales, and that was a very hard pill to swallow coming in brand new. And throughout the years, I've continuously just done better. So I think it just takes time. And I think if you stick to it and whatever that niche is for you, hang on to it and just keep at it, and it'll pan itself out.
Yeah, social media. Every real estate agent out there at some point in their career has asked for the silver bullet, right? They go on YouTube, they listen to a podcast, ours is good, and they listen to some guru that's not done it, right? Or did it long ago. You're doing it every day. We're all doing it every day today and generating business with this. But it's that having patience and being persistent, right? You cannot give up. Mm-hmm. It will work if you're doing the right thing. If your social media is all about you, like, look what I sold, look what I sold, look what I sold.
You're going to lose people.
You're going to lose them. They don't need that. Or look at this, listing. It's got to be, why do they want to engage with you? Give them a why. And when I think of your page, and if someone were to ask me why should they follow Arohi, my response is, if you want to learn about some really cool, unique places in Central Florida that I've lived here since 1998. I've never heard of some of these places. The farm.
And I moved here. I'm not even from here.
Right. Well, I'm not from here either. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but you lived here longer than me.
I've lived here 2 years. I was 2 when I moved here.
Longer than me, though.
Right. But like the strawberry farm, right?
Yes.
And the different places you go, I'm like, wow, like I've gone out and explored some local places thanks to your social media. And then also you share great tips and education for buyers and sellers through your highlights and all that. And it's great.
Yep. No, I mean, I think it's great to, and what really helps too is staying with what's going on. So like during the fall, I keep up with, okay, what are fall activities going on in Central Florida during, the holiday time with Christmas and all of that. I try to keep it relatable to what's going on. So then that way people can do things in the community at that time. Same with, 4th of July, I'll list places nice places to see fireworks and stuff like that. So I think that really helps, just kind of putting yourself out there and letting people know what's going on.
And the other thing is we all get busy, right? Things happen. So planning your social media, planning your post out, having space in your calendar for the spontaneous post is always needed. But getting a base level foundation of that content, if you subscribe to Canva Pro, there is a built-in scheduler in there for you. There's other tools like Hootsuite, Sprout Social, many other platforms that will help you plan out. And also, like Hootsuite, Sprout Social, and a couple of the others, they actually will help you do hashtag research. Yeah. So you can see what's trending and what's not.
Let me tell you that when I started doing Instagram, I have to tell you, I was in denial with Instagram because for me, my audience was in Facebook. I was big on Facebook. I was big even on Twitter, even if I don't tweet, but that's what I used to do. And I got into Instagram, and I struggled with it. Mm-hmm. I just created my own templates. I was trying to make it like beautiful and professional, but I couldn't do it myself. So as you get busy, I don't really know how you do it because you're a busy agent.
She's a producer, a new mom.
You're a top agent. You have 2 babies. You have a husband, and you have your Instagram looking.
And the husband's a lot of time, right? Those husbands.
My first kid.
That was your first kid?
That's funny. Well, but I was struggling with the social media. But then when you get busy, you need to hire professionals as well if you can afford it. So you hire.
You're lucky, though. Your professional is a family member. You're really lucky.
But she is a professional.
Yes, she is. I know.
Yes. And like Arohi's pictures, you look beautiful, and you take your pictures with your phone. That doesn't mean that you have to take pictures professionally. But if you go into my page, like my pictures are professional. Makeup is professional, hair is done, and all of that. You don't need to do all of that if you don't need to, especially when you are a new agent. But when you want to take, and something that I do is just the aesthetics. But for some people, it's okay. For some other people, it doesn't really matter as long as you connect and you educate your audience. So,
and that's the thing. I think a lot of agents, they procrastinate because they want to wait for it to be perfect. It's better done than perfect. Get out there. Be authentically you. Don't try to be some other version. I'm going to tell a little story about one of our agents. We started doing these kind of Meet the Relentless videos. And one of our agents had a video done, and I watched it, and I'm watching this agent, and I'm like going, who is this agent?
He is
like
talking about me.
I'm like, who is she? Like, there's no cuss words, and she's like,
I haven't said one right now.
Like, I mean, like so calm and quiet. And then I'm like, I asked the videographer, who is this? And like, that's Arohi. I'm like going, what? Huh? I know it looks like her. He's like, you're gonna meet you, right? Yeah. Be you. Yes. Be authentically you. The best example I can give of this, and it's not in our industry, is a guy named John Heald. He's the John and the last name Heald. He is the brand ambassador now for Carnival Cruise Line. I've never been on a Carnival cruise. I have zero interest to go on a Carnival cruise. Disney Cruise Line fan here. But he has me wanting to go because, I mean, he violates every rule you would traditionally think of what a brand ambassador, a public relations person should say. But he's authentically him. Matter of fact, he often says for F's sake, and so he has the hashtag OFFS. So it became so popular, him saying it, He now does an annual OFFS cruise that he's guaranteed to be on, and it sells out within hours of being live because he's authentically him. Like him or don't like him, approve of it or don't, what you see is what you get. And too many agents try to put out a persona of who they don't. Now, you don't do that. You are authentically you. I pick on you about that one video, but you are authentically you. You're crazy. You're fun. If someone's going to work with you, they're going to have the time of their lives searching for a home or selling their home. They're going to make a lot of money to get it done as quick as they need to, but they're going to have fun doing it, and they're going to have a trusted advisor, and that's what you portray. And every agent needs to do that.
And be authentic, because it's so incredibly important. If you look like you're scripted and you recording or doing a video and you're scripted and you're just looking at something and you just look cold, versus when you're natural, you're authentic, people can relate to you. Whether they like you or not, like Kevin says, is completely irrelevant, but you're going to get people who are going to relate to you versus he or she is just reading something.
They're just there.
They're just there.
Like robotic.
And that's another thing too. You look at the timelines are for Instagram. There's too many. There needs to be more video. Whether you're doing the square videos for your feed or the reels, do more video. And if you're not doing video because you don't like the way you look or sound, get over it, because you look or sound to everyone else the way you look or sound it's the same. Just get over it. And when you're talking to the camera, talk to one person. Put someone you trust behind the camera, someone you like that you have, and then talk to them and just record it until you get more comfortable. Because you're just, when you're doing a video, you're talking to one person. Whoever's watching that video, you're talking to them. Have a conversation with them. It'll help you get over that. And you do great at video. Matter of fact,
great.
I know, like
for me, I'm still trying to get comfortable on videos. When we do videos, he goes like, one shot, that's it. Don't delete it, that's it.
I'm the same way.
And
mistakes and all.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something, if I have to try to read from something, I'm going to stutter. I'm going to get nervous. It's not that I don't know the content. I know the content, but if I'm trying to stay on a script, I'm going to mess it up every time. Versus like for me, if I'm doing something, I'll have a piece of paper in front of me, on the other side of the camera, and I'll put bullet points. And that is it. And if you ask me to do the same video 10 times, you'll get the same message, slightly different every time, because I'm just being natural.
Yeah. Best way to do it.
It's so important. Talk to me about how you plan your content. Do you plan any of it, or are you just kind of?
Nope, I just randomly like, oh, that's a good idea, and I just do it.
Imagine if you did plan some of it though.
I'm too control freak for that.
What do you mean? That's the ultimate control though.
Yeah, but I need to it's just got to come to me, and I just got to
Flow.
do it. Just flow. Yeah, I can't just plan it out, because then I'll go back and I'm like, oh, I should have done my hair differently. I didn't like that. And, all these things happen. So yeah.
Okay then.
It's the truth. It's the truth. I need to I have to feel it. I have to be somewhere. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good video. And then just kind of.
Are there any, do you follow any other Instagram channels that have inspired you?
Random. I mean, I kind of just, I don't follow anybody. It kind of just like, I have similar.
You shouldn't even follow me.
I do follow you. I do follow you. I do
joking.
like your stuff. I do.
I'm
I do.
He does.
It's because there's other agents who obviously follow her. Excuse me. They have the same hashtags and all of that I'm doing. So they come up on my feed. So I'll kind of just like, oh, that's cool. And then again, I've said this before too. Like, I'm not doing anything that maybe somebody else hasn't done. Why are you reinventing the wheel?
Yeah,
What I
don't.
mean? Why?
Don't.
Just why?
Don't.
Sometimes I'll just see another agent do it. I'm like, that's cool. I'm going to do that. And I do it because that agent is maybe located in another state or another area. So really, I'm not taking anything away from them, right?
Not at all.
There's no more new ideas. It's just ideas that were inspired by other good ideas.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's
No,
what happens.
no
I
phone
agree.
company has come out with a phone. They've just they didn't reinvent it. They've just made it better, or made their version of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I do plan.
So I do a mix of plan and
I do plan what I'm going to post, and it's posted ahead of time. Again, it's not done by me, but we discuss what we're going to talk about. If it's tax season, we have to talk about homestead. We have to talk about real estate taxes. When it's, summer, when it's,
right.
yes, so it is planned.
Yeah, and those type of things you can get ahead of time on, right? It's Or if you're going to do a series, like, in Canva, we have for our agents several, like, here are 24, is it 24 this versus that? Well, you can have this versus that Thursday, right? Or mortgage tips Monday. You could do things where you have some of that scheduled, and then you pepper in the other stuff. The reason why I bring up scheduling content, and I think it's so important, is life will happen. And you don't want to build up a great following, and then life happen, you take a break. And then the algorithm sees that, they see the engagement drop, so then it takes you will lose the engagement a lot quicker than you can regain it back. Mm-hmm. And you definitely don't want to do that.
Especially once you have that momentum going, stay with it. It's like riding a bike. The hardest part is getting started, but once you got the momentum going, but if you're constantly getting on and off the bike, like Kevin said, you're constantly starting over, constantly starting over again.
Try and pick back up.
How talk to me, what other tips do you have? So we have, getting content, posting regular, be yourself, be authentic and genuine, hashtags, don't go inviting followers off of your peers' Facebook pages. That gets people angry.
Yep, didn't do that.
No, I know you didn't do that. We just had it happen once, and it was an innocent thing, but the other agent definitely did not think it was an innocent, and I can understand that. What other tips? What about the highlight reels? How important do you think those are?
Those are important for me, at least in my opinion. I think they are. I have highlights on my page, so I kind of categorize certain things that I want people to be able to look back at. If it's just like a random selfie of me or something, I'm not highlighting that. But it's more so, I had all of my community service stuff that I put on my stories. I go ahead and I highlight those so people can look back and see what I've done in the past with that. Similar to when I have closings, all my closings are highlighted so that can come back. I know Kevin earlier mentioned the boomerangs. So boomerang is something I do with every closing, whether you are, a single female, single male, 95, 65, first home. I don't care who you are. If you work with me, buying, selling, we're going to do
it's in your contract.
It's pretty much in the contract with me, right? So you're doing a boomerang. And, just recently, I've had an elderly couple who bought a house and they're like, oh, what? And I'm like, just shake. You're fine. It's okay to shake. So
and it's fun too.
And it's fun. Yeah. So, look back and they're like, oh, that's funny. So, I'll go back. Certain things are highlighted in that sense that people can see. And with the boomerangs, it's become such a thing that now when people, before we get started, they're like, oh, I can't wait to do a boomerang with you at the end. It's because they know that happens at every closing with me. So it's just something now, it's kind of just affiliated with me, which is fun, So it's good.
They're asking for it. Like, legit. She doesn't bring it up like, hey, we get to the boomerang thing, right? Like,
they're like, hey, can't wait to do it. So it's exciting. So certain things I do, keep highlighted so people can look back and see. There's one highlight for me, so that shows kind of my accomplishments, my rewards, and things like that. So if somebody is curious to know anything about me, testimonials, they have a place where they can take a look and see who I am, what others have said about me.
You've had a couple accomplishments. Actually, just realized you haven't been on the show since the most recent one. So, so the Orlando Regional Realtors at last check is right at 30,000 members. Mm-hmm. Yep. And of the 30,000 members, you were recognized as what?
Top 20 under 40.
So. Congratulations.
Yeah. I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's exciting. Right? Yeah. That was a good way to end the year.
It was. It was so,
fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
No one more deserving, in the market. Like you bust your butt. And what I'll say is, you actually came through our school, then you joined the office. Your first year was kind of quiet.
Yep. I had zero sales. I'm not afraid. I'm not, but it's true. And same with even this award, I'm not afraid. I did actually apply for it before. I didn't qualify, which is fine. And I actually was so afraid to do it again this time. And my husband was like, just do it. It's fine. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And I ended up getting it. So it goes to show, it doesn't always work out the way you want it to, because it didn't for me last time when I applied. And I was surprised to get it this time. I'm thankful for that. So.
And you grew your sales even while being pregnant and having a brand new baby.
2 babies.
Well, yeah, I did it back to back. Yes. I was taking one at a time.
No twins.
Because they didn't happen in the same year. They were separate years.
No, yes. But
yes.
But yeah, zero, like I said, zero sales the first year. I was like, and to be honest, I was like, what did I just get myself into? Because I left a 9-to-5. I had a, paid salary. And all of a sudden that first year I made nothing. And I'm like, what just happened? It was almost like a reality check. And I kind of just was like, okay, one more year. Let's just try one more time, see what happens. And since then, every year I've just gotten better and better, you know, through my business and learning, growing, and all of that. So now I'm like, okay.
And how instrumental do you believe Instagram was to your success?
I mean, 90% for me, because, you know, a lot of it, like I said, I do my closings and all of that, and those people share, and then it just becomes like a domino effect, right? I get word of mouth. People are like, okay, that's good. And then people end up referring me to their friends and family, coworkers, etc. And then it, again, like I said, domino effect with that. So
yeah,
thankful for that.
Do you find yourself having people follow that you didn't invite? They're just because of your posts organically, or just liking your page and reaching out?
Both, yeah. Some I get from, you know, new customers, and some I just get random people. And I'm like, okay, where'd this person kind of come from? And then they're like, oh, I saw you on my feed, or, you know, I was like, okay.
And they're family now.
And then, yeah.
You're part of the Rohi family at this point.
You're not getting rid of me anymore now. It's kind of like that, but yeah.
Excellent. Any questions or thoughts you have, Joe?
I do have a question. From how long, once you implemented Instagram, how long did it actually take you to create a plan, or did you just kind of just shoot from the hip and just say, I'm just going to start this and just see how it goes, and what kind of traction where did you see it actually started taking traction? They started getting traction, I should say.
I like what year, or like what do you mean? Like
no,
when?
like how far
Time-wise.
into the process? Yeah, how far into the process?
Of getting into Instagram?
Yeah.
Did you get Instagram the first year, or was it?
No. I would say about a year or two, give or take. And then things like since I started Instagram has also changed a lot, right?
Absolutely.
It changes every
Yeah.
week.
Right. And now you have like these away message thing, you know, so like I've been trying just to keep up also with Instagram. So I make sure I stay on top of the updates that go along with Instagram, and I kind of see what other people are doing or how things are working and all of that. So then I'm like, okay, if this is something that's working or trending, I need to figure out how to make this work for myself too. What works in my favor is I'm very just out there, so I'm not shy. I have no problem kind of just putting myself out there and just kind of having fun with it. And if it works, cool. If it doesn't really faze me.
Right.
Yeah.
And not every post is going to go,
No.
you know, and then you have those random ones that just, you're like, what the hell? Why did that one get, you know?
No rhyme or reason.
10,000.
Just connected somehow.
Yeah, and that's okay, and that's something new agents should know too. I mean, some posts that you're gonna make, you're gonna get like 10 likes, and it's okay, whatever, it happened, you know. And then there's gonna be some that are just gonna blow up, and you're, like Kevin said, you're just gonna wonder, how did this happen, and kind of work off that and see, you know. And then with Instagram, a lot of it comes with, okay, your audience, who are you trying to target? What time is a good time for you? Maybe your followers are people who look at, you know, or scroll on Instagram at night, and that's a good time for you to post. Maybe your followers are people who are looking at it sitting in traffic, so maybe around 8, 9 o'clock are the people that are, you know, that time frame.
Look at your insights.
You look at your insights. So those are
the insights will tell you
Yep.
when your audience and what type of audience you have. So
And that's a good point. Don't listen to all the gurus on YouTube, everywhere else, that say this is when you should post on Instagram. When you're brand new and you don't have an audience, okay, but as you build your audience, everybody's audience is different.
Yep.
You've got to find out when your audience is on and when they're engaged, and that's when you should post on the upswing of that engagement period. Don't post at the top, post it on the upswing. So your first, go back to what Joe asked, so your first year, you weren't really on Instagram?
it was just so brand new for me. I was new in real estate. Everything was just new. So maybe my posts weren't making sense. I don't know what I was doing or saying. Who knows what. But
Was there a point that it just kind of clicked, or and the results changed, or was it an evolution?
both. So there's, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, to evolution, yes, but also once I started getting started doing closings, that also helped. Oh no, I was saying getting closings also helped. I think once that's also part of it. People see that, okay, she's doing something. She's not just sitting there posting random things. So I think as like one or two closings started happening and other things kind of started falling into place, and then the trust started building with other people, and I think that's how it kind of started growing a little bit more.
Is it definitely, to me, on the outside looking in as your broker, it was definitely it happened overnight. as far as I can remember. Like it just, it wasn't over a 6 month period. It was, you kept going and kept going. And at some point it just,
Something happened.
Clicked.
it popped,
Yeah.
you know, and it, maybe the algorithm picked up and
Maybe.
said, you know what, let's push this one. And it could have been a post. And that's another thing. If you have a post that does really well, be very thoughtful with your next post, right? Because that next post is going to get promoted heavier.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does, the next time you have a good post, the next one won't get promoted as well.
Mm-hmm.
So be very, you know, thoughtful and intentional with that.
I think a key thing also is there's so many agents on Instagram, which is fine, you know, but the thing is you need to stay on top of whatever it is that you're doing. I think with real estate, it's a big thing, out of sight, out of mind, because quite frankly, they can choose anyone and go with anybody. And if you're not top choice for them, or if you're not showing up on social channels or in whatever, somewhere, you can be easily forgotten, because not everyone, that loyalty is not there yet, right? So if somebody else comes along and they're like, oh, well, hey, I haven't seen her around, or him, excuse me, they might go with somebody else.
Squirrel.
Even if you've been around, I've always thought, you know, you should still be putting content out there, not just any content, but put something out there, because you need to stay top of mind. As I said earlier in the podcast, I mean, I had a restaurant for 25 years, and we were very well known. We're, you know, most nights was a wait, and yet we invested heavily each and every single month in advertising just to stay
Pizza Hut's really good.
top of mind. You got to stay top of mind.
No, for sure, for
People
sure.
will forget you very quickly.
And you don't want to just post just to say you posted either.
Correct. No way.
Be intentional.
Be intentional about it. Make
Absolutely.
it educational. Make it relatable. Whatever it is, fine. But there's got to be a reason for you to post,
Yeah.
not just because you're bored and you haven't posted in 2 weeks.
And be authentic.
And be authentic.
And have backup content. So if you're going to be more like a Rohi, where you're posting on the fly, have some backup stuff just in case, for whatever reason, you know, I can't think of some. Have something ready to go. That's, you know, maybe more static post, but something that, you know, is important to you, that's important to your audience, that you want to share. Because what you don't want to do is go, you know, if you're used to posting every day and your audience is used to that, whether it's once a day, 3 times a day, twice a week, whatever, you want to stick to that rhythm or more. You never want to dial it back. Any final thoughts for you, Miss Peggy?
Oh, well, I'm just listening to Arohi, and I'm just thinking, when I got into real estate, we didn't have, like, Facebook wasn't big. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Instagram, none of that, TikTok or anything like that. So looking at you as a newer generation doing Instagram, and realtors like me that has been in the business for a long time, has been forced to be out there. We need to do it. Either if you've been in the business for a long time and you're not doing Instagram, you're not doing any kind of social media, you need to figure out and get. And
That's my favorite thing. Someone told me, it was an agent we met with, they were looking at changing, and we kept talking about how important doing social media was, and this agent doesn't. And she's like, I've been doing just fine without it. I'm like, that is going to come to an abrupt end at some point, right? This is the new way, and this agent had been doing it for over 35 years. And my response to her was, that's great. When you got in the business 35 years ago, how are you getting your listings, right? The MLS, the website, 35 years ago, you know, website, the MLS wasn't, you didn't go to a website. Back in the day, we met, you know, another agent we did a podcast on earlier. They used to get, you know, the listings.
magazine, it was called the Flyer.
Right? And they had to go to the listing office and pick up the keys and then go show the house and then bring the keys back. You know, I can imagine how many keys got lost and not returned.
Oh my God, I remember
my
that,
parents,
yeah.
you know, looking to buy a piece of property back in the early 80s. And we went to, back then it was actually a Century 21 office also, but I remember it's a 3-ring binder with a Polaroid on the top and, you know, a typewritten description.
What's a Polaroid? I'm not familiar with this.
I can't
Do you know what
explain
this is?
But
You shake it like it one.
Shake it like a
oh,
Polaroid
yeah, you take a picture, you
picture.
shake it for
like
5
a-
minutes,
yeah.
and you wait for it to
See,
go from
he
black
didn't
to
catch-
something.
He didn't catch it. There's a song goes, shake it like a Polaroid picture.
There you go.
Sorry. Must be listening to the wrong channel. Must be listening to the wrong music channel here. So
Yeah, you have to be out there, like whatever you're good at. If your audience is on Facebook, be on Facebook.
Yep.
If your audience is on Instagram, be on Instagram. You'll be surprised because sometimes we think that only the young people are on Instagram.
They're
but
all
no.
over.
Nope.
I have a customer that she is already an older lady, and she comments on all of my posts.
There you go.
She sees my stories, and she's always makes a comment. So do not assume.
Exactly. You know, and the last thing I'll say before we wrap up is that whatever social media profiles you have, make sure you're posting on them. Don't create profiles if you're not posting. Okay. So if you have a Twitter account, make sure you're posting. If you have Instagram, having an empty profile is the worst thing you can do. You want to make sure that you're having regular content on whatever channels. And then as you feel comfortable with one, like you have Facebook, it's very easy to organically go to Instagram because you can post on both at the same time organically within the tools, right? Then expand into LinkedIn or expand into TikTok, you know. If you're doing reels, those reels can also be used on TikTok and Facebook, right? So you can take content and cross-utilize it on multiple platforms. You don't have to create things over and
Each
over again.
platform,
Yeah.
right.
Well, that's all we have the time, or as far as time for today. Arohi, thank you so much
Yeah, thanks for having me.
for joining us once again. Peggy, Joe, welcome to.
Thank you.
You'll be seeing lots of Peggy and Joe on the 121% podcast. They'll be regular co-hosts with me.
And you'll see me out and about.
And you will see
Doing real
Arohi
estate.
out and about on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle? We'll put up on the screen as well.
Yeah, it's Arohi_realtor.
It's AAROHI_realtor
That's right.
on Instagram. So
And
check.
remember, if you see her out at a coffee shop, don't be shy.
Say
Say hello.
hello.
She probably needs someone to take a picture. So, you know.
You might get caught in that.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, please do us a favor and click on that subscribe button. Click the bell to get notified when we release new videos, and you can catch up on all of our you can catch up on all of our other episodes right here on YouTube. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast network, do us a great big favor. Make sure you give us a click on those 5 stars and leave us a review. It really helps the algorithm get our message out to more real estate agents around the world so we can help agents grow. You know, we believe in helping not just agents at our office, but agents everywhere, because the better our industry is, it's the better for all of us. So we always try to help people, 50% education, 50% motivation, and that extra 21%, that's the action it takes to make it happen. So thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, be relentless.